Hi, Casey Durango here with Go Keto with Casey. I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds on the ketogenic diet and about how others might be able to lose weight, improve their health, and regain control of their lives. Today's topic, fat facts. So how much fat are we really supposed to eat when following the ketogenic diet? There's a lot of information out there. Some of it is questionable. Some of it is just confusing. The ketogenic diet, for those of you who are just learning about it, is a nutrition protocol by which your carbohydrate level is reduced to a point where your liver stops pushing out glucose, which your body would be using for fuel. And when the glucose dries up, as it were, your body happily switches to burning ketones for fuel, hence the name ketogenic. Ketones are energy bodies, if you just want to think of it that way, source of energy. And ketones mobilize fat for that fuel. Your body, probably, if you were like most of us, certainly if you're like me, has plenty of fat reserves on board to burn. That's really all the ketogenic diet is. It's a fat-burning nutrition protocol, not a weight loss protocol. It just means your body's burning fat for fuel. Now, if you are a person who does not have any body fat that you want to lose, congratulations, first of all. You can go stand over in the corner where the very tiny minority of the rest of the American population would be. But if you're like most of us, you have body fat to burn, excess body fat, probably. If you are consuming all the fat that your body needs for energy, it doesn't need to turn to your onboard stores. It's that simple. This is a fat-burning diet, not a weight loss diet. There is some information out there that you have to pile on the fat. Get in your fat. How am I going to get in all that fat? No, you don't get in fat. Here's what you do. At least here's what I did. You keep your grams of carbohydrate 20 a day or fewer. Total, not net. Eat fatty sources of protein. Eat only when you're hungry and stop when you're satiated. Why does that work? I never have done and won't and don't need to calculate or otherwise measure the amount of protein or fat that I eat. I just needed to keep my carbs below 20. Mine are quite a bit below 20. But I'm pretty insulin resistant, and that is where all this comes from, is your body becoming resistant to insulin that our pancreas produces. But that's another topic, just for simplicity's sake. I don't need to measure, because if I follow all of the tenets of this protocol as laid out by Dr. Eric Westman from Duke and Heal Clinics, if you eat only when you're hungry and you stop when you're satiated and you're eating fatty sources of protein, the math takes care of itself. There are pie charts out there. Probably many of you have seen them. I suggest you resist the urge to study them or look at them. There are people that say go by percentages of the M word, which I don't like to say anymore because people are so hung up on the M word. But for clarity, I'm talking about macronutrients. There are 3 macronutrients: fat, protein, and carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is not an essential nutrient. We don't have to eat any. The bottom threshold, compatible with life, of carbohydrate intake is 0. That is not from me. That is from a dietary research study. We don't need carbs. Our body can make all the little bit of glucose that it needs through gluconeogenesis. By the way, gluconeogenesis is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. My body's got gluconeogenesis going on as I make this video. It's making the energy it needs. And I'll tell you, The pie chart and these percentages came out as a result of research into nutrition, not as a goal. They're just what happens if in nutritional studies, people were studied on a low-fat diet, low-carb diet, standard American diet, etc. in metabolic wards, which means they were essentially food jail. And all their food was provided for them depending on the protocol, but it was an ad lib research. They could eat as much as they want, stop when they wanted, they just did. The folks on the low-carb diet ended up eating. The numbers came out to the pie chart. I'm trying not to get into the weeds about the pie chart and the percentages. It's just what happens. But I don't want you to think that you need to eat 5% of your caloric needs from carbohydrate. There are people that think, oh, I can eat whatever I want as long as I'm only eating 5% of this and 20% of that and 75% of that. The math won't work. If you're eating is, just piling it on, eating, because all I have to do is keep my percentage at 5% or below, you might end up eating 3,500 calories. 5% of 3,500 is whatever that is, 4 grams of energy per gram, 4 calories of energy per gram of carbohydrate. Do the math. That's going to put you way over 20 grams, okay? You don't have to pile on the fat. You don't have to get in fat. Eating fat is not what gets you into ketosis, which is if you want to be in ketosis. Eating fat doesn't do it. It's not the presence of fat. It's the absence of carbs. It's just that. Let's take this logically. Say you're cast away onto a desert island. There's a nice babbling brook where you can get all the fresh water you want, but you don't have anything else to eat. There are no sources of food on the island. And you're there for a week before the steamship comes by and finds you. You'll go into ketosis after a couple of days. It's just what happens. Your body switches. It says, oh, wow, I don't have any glucose because I've not been eating any carbs because I've been eating no food. What do I do now? Your body says, well, I better start burning ketones for fuel, which it's happy to do, and it'll go to your body stores. By definition, you've eaten 0 grams of fat, and you go into ketosis. So how can it be that you must eat fat to go into ketosis? What you don't want to do is deprive your body of protein. If you're going to eat nothing else, you need to eat protein because your lean mass and your cells need the protein. But to be told or to think that you have to cram in lots of fat, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to repeat it again. It's not the presence of fat, but the absence of carbs that gets you into ketosis. If you don't care about being in ketosis, fantastic. If you really like eating a lot of fat and makes you happy, fantastic. This is a low-carb, moderate protein, high-fat diet, but not high added fat. Let me tell you why, and I think this is where maybe some of the confusion has come. It has been known for a while and in different parts of the world as a Lchf diet, low-carb, high-fat. Yes, it is a low-carb, high-fat diet. But that's because the protein should remain pretty much moderate depending on what your taste for protein is. We tend to self-regulate protein intake because humans are not designed to eat a lot of protein. This is not a high-protein diet. And what the magic number is that you should eat, it just really depends. If you listen to your body, you'll probably figure it out. Overeating protein tends to make us feel kind of gross, to tell you the truth. So assume that our protein intake is going to stay about the same. No matter what we do, low fat, low carb, whatever, protein generally stays the same if you're following your body. And then think of that fulcrum, that protein, as the center of a teeter-totter. Well, the teeter-totter, if it's low carb, it's going to go high fat. The rest of it's going to be high fat. If you're low fat, the rest is going to be carb. No matter how you work it, 100% of your calories are going to come from somewhere. So it's not high added fat. It's just whatever is not a protein or a carb is fat. Eat fatty sources of protein. What does that mean? Eat chicken with the skin, pork chops with the fat, eggs with the yolks, fatty cuts of beef, not lean ones. You can have cheese if you tolerate it. You can have heavy cream in moderation, up to about 2 tablespoons a day. Those are your added fats, the cream, the mayonnaise, the sour cream. Those are your added fats, but they're not unlimited, and you don't want to have them way over the top. Adding a lot of fats to your liquids, to your beverage of choice, if it makes you happy and you like it and you're getting the results you want, do it. But adding fat is not only not necessary to be successful on the ketogenic diet, it can be counterproductive. Again, if you're chugging back a lot of fat, your body's energy needs are being met by this. Why is it going to turn to the fat on your body? It's not going to. Eating fat doesn't make you burn fat. Being in a state of ketosis makes you burn fat, whether it's from your coffee or from your backside. This sounds kind of lectury, but it comes up a lot, and there's great confusion over it. I'm going to say it again. This is how you follow the ketogenic diet. At least it's how I've done and how many other people have done and found success. 20 grams of protein, total, not less, not net, or fewer a day. And guess what? 0 is fewer than 20. Eat fatty sources of protein. Eat only when you're actually hungry, not because it's breakfast or dinner time. And stop when you're satiated. That's what you do. Keep the faith. This works. Keep it simple. Try to ignore the pie charts. Try to ignore confusing information. And I know it's hard. A lot of conflicting advice out there. If you find a voice that speaks to you and it works for you, listen to that. But don't try to do everything. It's not possible. There are people that say fasting is the only way to go, and you have to get in lots of fat. How are you going to do that? How are you going to fast and get in lots of fat? It's a puzzlement. Okay, guys, gorgeous, hot, muggy day here. But that's how it goes in the South. Keep it a good one. Keep your carbs 20 or fewer a day. Eat fatty sources of protein. Eat only when you're hungry. Stop when you're satiated. Be kind to yourself. And try to tune out some of the conflicting information. Keep it simple. Keep it steady. Thank you for tuning in.